Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the new shop. So during the week I managed to complete the installation of the windows. As you would have seen, I showed a quick clip making the windows up. So the windows up the top up there, all completed, finished, done. So that was a big thing on my mind, how I was going to get around that, but we managed it, no dramas, and it's looking good. So I'll give you a couple of shots of that. And once I'd done that, I just had a bit of a quick clean up in the shop. Shifted a couple of machines just in approximate positions, sort of, and at least where they are now I can start to get some of the work done on them. So I think I mentioned last week the JFMT lathe, I'm going to be doing that one first. So anyway, we'll swing you around, have a look at the windows. Yes, so all our windows are in position now, and I'm really happy with the result. They come up looking really well. So I suppose we better get some lighting going on in the shop so we can see what we're doing. So here's a shot I'll put in next showing the difference between the opaque panels that I have up here and the clear ones. As you'll see, there's a huge difference, and that's why I went for these opaque panels. Just trialling out some different materials for the windows. So that one over there, that's a white one, and that one's more of a clear one. So that's a 10mm thick clear plastic, and that's a 16mm thick. So they have it's like honeycomb inside. I'll show you when we get to making them. So we're just seeing which one is the best one as far as light goes. It's a bit hard to see here because the light's going to affect the camera, but as you can see, if I move across, the sunlight comes through the clear one, which is a right pain in the arse. I don't want that. And we come over to the other one, and where the sun is in the other one, you probably won't pick it up. It just puts a vertical orange band up and down. It's very easy on the eyes, so we'll be going with that option now. Yeah, so you should be able to see from that last shot the difference when the sunlight hits the two panels. So yeah, with the clearer panels, you can't work under those conditions looking up at that. It's right in your face. So the opaque ones just puts an orange band across the panels, and no, it worked out great. So anyway, what are we going to do next? My main mission today, I have some work to do on the front entry door, some beading to put around the edges and the weather strips to go in, because our winter weather comes at a diagonal direction towards that door. So I'll get on with that. I'll give you a quick shot of that when it's finished. Well, while we're up on the roof today installing this top row of edge flashing, which is a two-piece flashing, this is the first of the two pieces. There's a good shot of the windows. So they came out really well in the end. So this flashing we're doing at the moment, it's just a capping. It just encloses. There's a gap underneath. Nice sunny winter's day here. It just fills in this gap here, and it just tidies things up. So there's another one, as you'll see shortly, comes over the top, and it has a drip edge going down, and it extends down a fair way down here. So all of the sheets have to have the edges all turned up, and what that does is when the weather comes from the south, stops any rain that could get driven up there from coming over, keeps everything down that way. So turning up the edges, I've got the simple tool that I made up, just out of scrap. It's just a matter of get you in the picture, clip it on, bit of a bend up. That's all it needs. So I'll go ahead now, I'll get the third length of flashing on, and then we'll bring you back when we're putting the top bit on. Alright, this is the last piece of the edge flashing for up top, and same with what we did, the flashing, the notching across the flashing there for each rib. We've had to do the same for these other top edge sections. So yeah, out with the tin snips and just cutting these little bits out. So we'll get up on the other part of the roof and show you where it goes. So that bit that we've just shown you is this part, is one of these. It sits on top of that first bit that we put up this morning, and it caps off the very top of the roof. So all of the cutouts are, where are we? Yeah, for the ribs to come up. So yeah, I'll just get that last one into place, and then that's the roof pretty well completed. I do have some minor work to do on the ends, just put an extra few pop rivets and so on, and then she's pretty well completed, I think. So, yeah, another beautiful winter's day here in Perth. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon, 18 degrees centigrade. The sun's just going down behind the trees there at the moment. There, so we're nearly there. Well, we're just getting to the final details now of our roof. So what we're doing at the moment, this is it's a foam infill strip, and it fills in these gaps. So you just push it up with your finger, work it in with your finger. And it just neatens it up, fills in the gap, just makes a proper looking job out of it. So you'd probably get away without it, but then it would bug me not doing it, knowing that the stuff is available. So we've got that to do, and then we've just got to touch up with some roof and gutter sealant, probably around a couple of spots around the edge of these where they go through the flashing, just to keep it all nicely sealed up. And then we'll give the roof a final sweep off, and then she'll be done. Well, it's finally come to an end. The work on this half of the roof is completed. Roof's all swept off now. You have to sweep all the drilling swarf off the tin. Windows are completed. Upper flashing's all completed. Yay. So all we have to do now is sweep off the other side of the roof, which is the large side. So I have all the gyprock sheeting delivered. So all that sheeting we're going to put up around the dunny and the stud walls there, and the other stud wall over there. Might get a couple of quick shots of that, but I won't be doing that. My son-in-law and his brother are going to tackle that one for me. It's not my thing. I've never done it before. Mind you, there's a lot of things I've done in this workshop, in the building process, and never done before, like most of it. So they're going to help us out and make a start on our gyprock walls there. So we're just about there. The only other things we've got to do, I do have some more flashing which I still have to order, and that runs right up in the corner joint where the roof meets the wall up here. But that can be done at a later date. Yeah, a bit of veranda flashing to go across the edge here and meet up with the roof flashing there. But that I'll do that at a later date, as with the flashing underneath the veranda. It's not a critical thing to happen at the moment. And that's it, she's finished, except for at a later date. I think I mentioned ages ago, but you see these brackets, these tabs I've got on the columns. Well, what they're for, each column has one, and there'll be some decorative arched steelwork goes up in between them, but that's further down the track. My main concern is to get it all, the bulk of it finished, so I've got a usable workshop. I've got a bit of temporary lighting up here at the moment, one fluoro there and the other one down there, colour LED fluoros, and that's just a bit temporary until I get the rest of them up and in, and we get a bit of wiring happening. But it was getting a bit dark in here yesterday over, it was raining, it clouded over, and it made it a bit hard to see what was going on with everything. So in between just having breaks from being up there sweeping on the roof, I've been tootling along with a little bit on the boring mill here. So I've been tackling the rust on the ends of the slideways. So it was like that for the last 2.5 feet. Still have that one to go, of course. And it's cleaned up pretty well. We've got all the rust off it now. It's actually come up not too bad. Bit of staining still, but eventually that'll come out if I keep going over it a few times. That should come out. So we've been hammering away at that with a bit of acetone mixed with a bit of auto trans fluid, just mixed up in a bowl, and a brush. That's after I've scraped it. So yeah, I've been scraping the worst off first and then hook into it with the auto trans and the acetone. So that if you watch DD's channel where he restores his old machines, he gets them from the scrapyard and they're rusty as buggery, and it appears to work for him, so I'll give it a try. So yeah, it'll come up better than that, but it'll just take a lot more time. But there's probably nearly a day that I've been working on that one there. So they're not a small, they're a 7-inch wide way, so you just got to take it really careful so you don't do any damage or take off any material that you shouldn't be taking off. So yeah, I got this one to go. So it's just a little job tootling along in the boring mill when I have a break from doing other things. The table's got a bit on in some spots too. I'll just give that one just a quick scrape just there, and that'll come up fine. So I'm going to keep this boring mill job tootling along in the background, and I will collect up the bits of footage and for the beginning of the videos for the restoration. So I think this weekend we may even make a start on this JFMT, as I want to remove the saddle and apron and give the whole machine a good strip down. A clean down. I'm not stripping it down, not touching the headstock, though we are going to pull the lid off for an inspection and all that. But I do want the saddle off and the apron off, just to rectify the stiffness in this lever. Longitudinal, she's a bit stiff. Cross is fine. So we'll get that sorted out and all the ways all cleaned up. They are in good condition on this machine. There's hardly any discernible play even in the cross slide. There's nothing there, eh? So this machine has not done much work. So anyway, that's this weekend's job. It's riveting stuff. Keep you amused for hours. Okay, we're going to go with something different on this one. We'll try it and see how it goes. CLR. It's probably a bit more powerful than the acetone and brake fluid, but we'll just try a bit on the end here and see how it goes. We don't want to start dissolving our bedways away. Well, that went relatively quickly and easy with the CLR. So that's as far as I'll go with CLR, and the rest of it we'll get into with DD's special solution. That's the auto trans fluid and acetone. Bit of part A and a bit of part B. Let's get our little brush. Oh, here it is. I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't. The two don't really mix. They stay separated. And this is a brass brush. So DD, if you're watching, tell me if I'm doing this wrong, mate. Just little areas at a time. You can see the solution change colour as it starts to go a bit darker with the rust and shit that's coming out of the cast iron. That's brought that up even better. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We'll go over that a few more times as we work our way down the length of the bed. Even the scale's still in pretty good condition. Goes up to 93 inches. So it's obviously an imperial machine. I have not even looked or cleaned the dials on it. But as the machine was made in northern France in 1956. Anyway, I'll doodle away at this, and then when I bring you back, we'll get a quick shot of it, and then hopefully we'll be starting work on the lathe on the other side of the shop. So I thought I'd save my back from a bit of wear and tear. So I brought myself one of these scissor type little work platform trolley things. So I was just going to go down the cheap and cheerful route and get a cheapie from the local cheapie tool supplier, sort of manufactured in you know where. And then I started looking around a bit further, and I found this one. It was for the same price as the Cheap and Cheerfuls. I have no idea, this could be made there too. But the first thing that did strike me, it's a 500 kilogram unit. Seems to have, I think they're like a European standards markings. First thing that struck me was the foot handle, which you use to operate the pump to elevate the platform. And I was looking, and oh, you'll see that, we won't focus. This bolt, it's an 8.8, it's a grade 8 bolt. So the normal Cheap and Cheerfuls would have some piece of mild steel rubbish in there, but this obviously straight off the bat seems to have a bit of quality about it. So I'll get it out of the box, we'll get it all assembled up, we'll check it out. So yeah, cool trolley for the shop, moves nicely. One bolt for assembly, that's to bolt the handle in. So, thing goes up and down. So what I got this thing for, so if I've got bits and pieces I don't really feel like lifting, take it to a machine, I can just have, I don't have to have a big gantry set up in here. I can just have localised swing cranes and smaller size gantries and etc. and move the parts around between the gantry and the trolley. So yeah, it's seems to be, I think it is European made, or made over there somewhere in Europe, because all the stickers seem to look to me to have a European origin. So time will tell. And it will fit right at home here too, as every other piece of equipment in here pretty well is over European way anyway, of course, except for the Chinese lathe there. Yeah, everything else is pretty well European. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. So I had a good score this morning. A friend of mine down the road has a fabrication shop and had this 180 by 90 parallel flange I-beam that was surplus to requirements, so he kindly let me have it. So I mentioned earlier I was going to get one of those cheaper 1-ton gantries on wheels, but the lead time on those, if I order it now, they're all on back order and they're not due in from the slow boat from China until September, and that's, yeah, so I thought, bugger it, we'll make one. So we'll get one out of this. So the long bit is 5 metres, the shorter bit is about 3 metres or something like that. Unfortunately I had to cut it as it overhung my trailer, probably 4 metres, 5 metres, which is pushing the boundaries a bit for towing over here, like pushing them quite a bit. So I had to lop a few metres off the end of it. So we may end up, I might make I'm not sure yet, but I might make a gantry that'll cover the full width of the doorway here, and it will stay down this end probably permanently, and I'll use my other 1-ton gantry as required, just up if needed over the machines if we've got anything heavy to lift in. So that'll be future projects. I'll have to organise some pipe for the uprights. I'm not sure what I'll use. I'll have to look, probably 90mm nominal bore pipe or something along those lines, and I'll have to find out the length of this beam, what's the allowable deflection on a 180 beam 5 metres long, because it has to have a 1-ton capacity. Oh, excuse me. Worst comes to worst, if it comes out over this length, just under 1 tonne, there is the option of doing a castellated beam, which increases the your load limit on the beam. So that's that's another option. If you're unaware what a castellated beam is and haven't seen one, it's where you cut the entire length of the beam, and you cut like across the top, down at an angle, across here, back up here, across the entire length of the beam, and you set one back on top of the other, so you end up with a hexagonal hole, or a row of hexagonal holes all the way down. And that's another method to get an extra bit of load limit out of your beam without going to a heavier beam. So as it increases the width of the flange, of the web, sorry. So yeah, that's another option, but I'll have to do some calculations on it and see where we're going to come out. And also the lads have been busy this morning starting to get the gyprock sheeting up. So yeah, we're moving in a good forward direction. Yeah, so I had fully intended to make a start on the JFMT lathe, the works we have to do on that, but I'll put that off till the lads have finished doing all of the gyprock work, and then we're not going to be in each other's way then. And yeah, it'll make a start to a good new series. So anyway, so basically we've finished the construction on the shed now. So I think we've got some bad weather rolling in, so I think I'll spend the rest of the day just doodling along, doing some rust removal on the horizontal borer here, just to fill in a bit of time, and it also keeps this machine, well, it starts it moving in a forward direction. So anyway, alright, well cheers, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next video where we start the series on the lathe. So